afternoon, everybody. My name is Keely Gideon Taylor. I am a member of the Black Chamber Board and Chair of Resource Development and Events. And I'll be co-hosting today's session along with our office manager, Tracy Thomas. Tracy, raise your hand. We have our chair on the line as well. Grassford, raise your hand. You'll hear from him a little bit later in the program. But I do want to welcome you to our Wednesday Wisdom session. This is our virtual series. This session, today's session, is generously sponsored by the City of West Palm Beach. So I am going to turn it over to Mr. Frank Hayden in just a minute, but some virtual meeting rules. We invite you to turn your camera on. We love seeing all of our members' faces. We also invite you to mute when you are not speaking. We will have our presenters present. We will have a Q&A at the end of the session. We invite you to put your questions in the chat, or when we get to Q&A, please raise your hand or use your reaction buttons, and we'll make sure that we get to you so that we allow everyone an opportunity to speak. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Frank Hayden. Frank is the Director of the Office of Economic Opportunity for the City of West Palm Beach. His area of expertise is procurement and working with small, minority, and women business enterprises. So we are grateful to the City of West Palm Beach for sponsoring today's session. Mr. Frank Hayden.
We can't hear you, Frank.
Frank, we cannot hear you.
We may need him to call in if his audio is
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We can.
All right, very good. I'm sorry. You know how I am with technology, you know? So as I was saying, this is truly a special today. I have the pleasure of working very closely with the CRA here at the City of West Palm Beach. And the program that they're going to talk to you about today is a very exciting one that is going on in our northwest part of West Palm Beach. This is an excellent opportunity because the benefit of it is to help and assist Black businesses in that area. And I'm excited about it because it is kind of a catalyst for the development of Black businesses or minority-owned businesses to refurbish and redevelop in the northwest part of the city. And Gina Baker, who is the project manager, has been shepherding and taking care of this program or this project for quite some time. And so I'm glad to see that we're at that point now where we're about to unroll it and let people be a part of it. And Miss Miller, who is the marketing person for this project, has done an excellent job of putting together some things. We just sent out in our membership package some information about this project. So without any further ado, let me get Miss Baker on so she can tell you about the exciting news about this project in the City of West Palm Beach. Ms. Baker?
All right, I have someone else actually driving for me. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. All right. Yes, I am. My name is Gina Baker, and I am the project manager for the Historic Northwest neighborhood, and I have been since 2014. I thank you all for asking me to talk about this exciting project called the Styx, which is currently underway, by the way. But before I begin with specific remarks about the project, I think it's fitting for me to give you a little context. Prior to the beginning of my tenure here with the CRA, the then administration undertook a comprehensive study of the historic Northwest. And I'm not going to assume that everybody on this call knows where it is, so let me just give you some geographical boundaries. The northwest is bounded on the south by Banyan Boulevard, which historically was First Street, and to the north by Palm Beach Lakes. The east and west boundaries are the CSX Railroad, which is Tri-Rail. Everybody's familiar with that. To the east, to the west, and to the east is the FEC, which is where you see all the freight trains running. So that is essentially the historic Northwest in and of itself, and it is the last bastion of the downtown CRA. As I said, again, prior to my tenure, there was a comprehensive study that was undertaken. That study focused essentially on the preservation and economic revitalization of this community. The report or study was known as the Sullen-Lee Report. And if you've been around the CRA in the last 7 years, you've probably heard that name banted around quite a bit. Believe it or not, that report was completed way back in 2002. That comes a bit, it's no surprise to me being a bureaucrat, because often what we do is we go out about doing a whole bunch of studies, we come up with a great idea and then very quickly shelve it without any implementation. So in 2014, I was convinced the administration, or actually I convinced the administration to implement various elements of that plan with the idea of creating a transformative destination point. The plan identified the historic Sunset Lounge as the nucleus of the neighborhood, and that plan suggests that this agency focus its efforts on revitalizing that building as a draw. I am often commended for such innovative thinking, but I have to admit, the innovation didn't come with me developing the plan. The innovation came with me actually making it come to life. Can I go to slide 2? Oh, we're already done. That's fine. We're good. Stay there, go back. Good. All right. So that said, the agency purchased the Sunset Lounge and the surrounding properties in the summer of 2016, and we began the bid process to procure an architect and general contractor. The project for the Sunset project is underway and will operate as an eating and drinking establishment, as well as a entertainment venue, which historically that's what it was, although there was no cooking facilities on the site, and that's being added in the scope of this project. We hope to have the project completed by the spring of 2022, and we are looking to have a spectacular grand opening to follow. Go to the next slide, please. This is what the Sunset Lounge will look like upon its completion. And what you're looking at in this slide is a view from the south to the north. The building plan left is the historic building that's been completely restored. And then the addition plan right is basically a pre-function area that will house the kitchen facilities as well as updated bathrooms. And if any of you have been in the Sunset prior to the agency taking it over, you'll know that the bathroom is a huge amenity to come. Next slide, please. So in an effort to not make the mistake of thinking small, and in keeping with the Sullen-Lee vision and initiatives, we collaboratively designed the Heart and Soul Park with the community itself. The park will serve as an active open-air establishment or entertainment venue and will be programmed in concert with the live events that will take place in the Sunset Lounge itself. The park was also designed to accommodate a mobile stage and jumbotron, which will not only telecast the major performances happening in the Sunset, but will also be programmed for community events throughout the year. And what I'd like to bring your attention to in this slide is if you look at the layout of the park itself, you'll see the connectivity to the project that we're going to be talking about in a few minutes, and it's the purpose of these talks. But what I want to draw your attention to is the actual street that's in the background there, lined by the pink trees. You'll see that there are elements throughout this park that are all musically themed, and this was very intentional, and it was part of the collaboration we did with the community. I will admit to you that this was one of my best projects in my overall career. The standing out at the corner of this park the other day with the substantial completion walkthrough, I was almost drawn to tears. And if you guys have not been there, I'm going to encourage you to go out and take a look at it. And it's not even finished yet. Next slide. So those two initiatives would not be complete if we had not provided an opportunity for small business to locate within the vicinity of this major public investment. Hence, this is how the Styx concept was born. The name itself is taken from a historic settlement in the Palm Beach Island where many African Americans lived during the Flagler Boom. Next slide. Next slide. See that? Rachel, next slide. Okay. So the Styx will be a series of replicated shotgun style buildings designed to accommodate an array of neighborhood commercial businesses. Our agency intends to sell these parcels, but will consider a lease to own arrangement. The idea is to offer the end user an opportunity or an ability to share in the economic rebirth of this community. Next slide. So the way these units would be laid out, if you look at the top of the screen, that is the 7th Street spine or the main corridor through the historic Northwest. And as I showed you in a previous slide, that whole street was redone. And of course, in the center is a musical thing, which I'll highlight on the next slide. But what's most important about these wonderful units is that they are laid out in a type A, type B building. The front type A buildings are the framed vernacular or shotgun style buildings that we will replicate because of the historic nature of the community and the designation. And each one of these options illustrated here can show you how the floor plans can be repurposed for a specific business. So starting with option 1, that gives you an iteration of possibly a restaurant. So the front of a house, you'll have a front of the house dining area, potentially a back of house kitchen area, but both units will face on a right of way. The type B building will be on the back end, which is the promenade and the pedestrian walkthrough, which will come through, which is basically Henrietta wrapped around the back of the buildings, and will dump out onto Sapodilla Avenue. The option 2 is another iteration of what the layout could be. You could do sort of a small hair salon and an office type facility up front, facing the 7th Street corridor. And then type 3 is a retail or barbershop type scenario. So the idea is to bring in neighborhood commercial businesses, which are sorely needed right now in the community. And they don't essentially exist because there's no new construction to really accommodate them. So that is the purpose and the mission of this project. Next slide. So, and this is the culmination of the streetscape of 7th Street, which is the intersection of 7th and Henrietta. And I will bring you, I want to focus your attention on the design there. That was intentional as well. That's actually an LP, which don't exist today. It's a vinyl record. And in the center is the historic Northwest logo. And you'll see all of that once you go out and visit, should you, and I encourage you to do so. Hold on. There. All right. So in addition to the 3 projects mentioned, the agency authorized and funded the Tamarind Avenue Streetscape, which will include major replacement and renewal of water and sewer lines. We're going to underground the overhead lines, which are hideous. We're going to install new tree canopies, lighting, and street furniture. And this is a $23 million public investment. This slide basically shows you the spine that I spoke of, which is the corner of 7th and Tamarind. And that is what the streetscape is going to, sort of a depiction, if you will, of what that streetscape is going to look like when it's finished. Next slide. And this is entering into the historic Northwest from Palm Beach Lakes, and that's Palm Beach Lakes and Tamarind. All of these projects were aimed at attracting private investment using public dollars, or excuse me, private investment using public dollars to lure private investment. And I'm happy to announce that this effort has shown some significant success, in my view, in that private investment is being made to construct the Flagler Station, which is going to be housed at the corner of Tamarind and Banyan Avenue. And that's an affordable housing development, which we call RAP. And as well, we're going to be building the Grand, which is another affordable housing development, and that's located along 3rd Street between Rosemary and Sapodilla Avenue. Both of these projects total over $100 million of investment and will house approximately 150 new families. I think that is pretty significant. So as you can see, the time is right for business looking to grow to consider the historic Northwest. So to wrap up, the Styx parcels are being developed at $315,000 per parcel, or $20 a square foot leasing rate. The agency will be preparing an RFP solicitation for buyers and lessees, and the selection process will be finalized by the CRA board. The solicitation date is not complete at this point, or the solicitation is not complete, nor is there a date set. However, when completed, it will cover all the parameters and scoring requirements for the board's deliberation. I'm confident that there will be preference given to existing businesses in the Northwest that are looking to expand. However, I'm sure they are also going to be looking to add a vibrant mix of small businesses. So as I said, the project is underway and scheduled for substantial completion by August. And in the interim, that RFP will be most likely hit the streets by this summer. And any of you who are interested in consideration, we will need you to provide your information to Ms. Miller, who is actually running my slides for me, and thank you. And she will directly notify you when the actual solicitation is released in his history. So with that, I want to thank you all for having me, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions.
Miss Gina, this is Thea Sullivan from Valley, and I heard you mention that you were looking at building some multifamily affordable housing. May I ask, do you already have a developer and builder and all that set up for that project?
Those two projects that I just mentioned, the first one is called Flagler Station, is a private entity. This agency's contribution to that project was that we gave them land. Essentially, we gave them some easements to the north of their site, right? So that's our contribution there. With respect to the grant, however, more involved. That's another private entity, another affordable housing project. And this agency is contributing about $9 million of TIF funding to that. Did I answer your question, Ms. Sullivan? Hello?
It certainly did. Thank you very much.
Ms. Baker, I have a question for you. The packet I got said there was an option of combining or using 2 units to do 1,200 square feet. Do you have an example of how that would look? Because I see them being front to back.
Right. So if I could ask my driver to go back to the floor plan slide real quick. Better if I
I'm not hosting. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Going back and ask you, when they're front to back, you're only owning one of them, right? You're not getting both the front and the back, correct?
Oh, that's why I want to show you the slide. And I know that it's a bit confusing. So what they, sorry, that was it. All right, go back one more. There you go. All right, so type A and type B is on one parcel, Mr. Ramsey or Dr. Ramsey. So they are separated by, if you will, a breezeway, right? So if you were a single occupant, you could potentially say have your office in the front. And if you were running a restaurant, that could be the back building, right? But it says one parcel, or you could occupy, say, the type A building as a single entity and lease out the back entity. So the parcel itself is 50 by 145, and it contains 2 buildings each. Does that make sense?
Yes. So type A is 300,000, and then type B would be 300,000 inside option 1. Is that what you're saying?
No, the entire parcel is 315,000. So that's type A and type B, includes both buildings.
And combined, that's 600 square feet?
Combined, it is roughly 1,100, roughly 1,200 square feet, the 2 buildings.
Between the 2 buildings, and the whole thing is 315,000.
That is correct.
Got it. Thank you.
And let me add, just a great question, thank you, because I know that looks a little confusing, unfortunately. But the 315,000 is the number that pens out after we divide it by the actual total brick and mortar cost to build the structures themselves. This agency is very capable of providing additional incentives depending upon who the applicant is and what their gap might be. So for example, and don't hold me to this, but this is an idea. Well, as I said, that 315 is the brick and mortar cost. It is not inconceivable that we could discount that and only charge you not the land value, but discount that number, if that makes sense to you. But there are different types of incentives that we can offer to get that number affordable for the end user and be able to achieve the appropriate financing.
Call me.
Call you?
I have a
Okay, I'll call you, sir.
I have a question, Ms. Baker.
Yes, sir. Hi, Mr. Lewis, how are you?
I'm doing very good. Thank you for your presentation. Very nicely done. I know the vision of the redevelopment efforts in the historic Northwest. And I know originally, at least from the preliminary concept standpoint of Styx Promenade, you kind of were leaning towards food and beverage operations. Is that changed? And if so, is there a preference for the type of businesses that you'd like to see occupy those structures?
So thank you for the question, Mr. Lewis. Yes, we are looking to basically complement the sunset operations. We think that the sunset and the park will be feeders for those businesses that would ultimately occupy these units. So they need to be active, and they need to be active beyond 8 to 5. So the preference of this agency would be to have those neighborhood type commercial uses that could stay open from 5 to 9, for example, or from 5 to 11. They don't necessarily have to be eating establishments. They could be small craft stores. I had someone approach me recently to put in a sake shop there. You know, so those are some of the types of businesses, and we'd like to also encourage some uniqueness in those areas, in those buildings as well. All that at the end of the day will complement and underpin the Sunset Lounge when it opens. Okay.
I have a question, Ms. Baker.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Kimberly, and my family owns a floral design and gift shop. And with the parcels, is it just for build space? Is there any other space available that we would have, I guess, permissions to do live growing plants? Or does the CRA, will you have any say or provide limitations to what can be done with the outside space?
So thank you, Mr. Hughes. And yes, your operation would fit very nicely here as a florist shop. However, your desire to put in a sort of a garden area might not work, simply because we do have some hardscape that's planned here for outdoor seating. I won't say no. We have to further analyze that to see how we could augment your particular, if you were a selected candidate, how we could augment the site plan to accommodate what do you call this? I'm not a green thumb. To accommodate a greenhouse so that you can actually grow plants. It's not inconceivable, like say, for example, if I can ask my driver to go back to the floor plan real quick. All right, so let's just take option 1 and use that as an example. See where that tree is? This would be plan left if you're looking at it.
Yes.
That's that outdoor seating area. It is not inconceivable that we could possibly accommodate a green area, or excuse me, a greenhouse in this particular area, but it needs to be open so that if you have pedestrian folks coming from down the promenade, they'd be able to walk into your greenhouse area and then out onto 7th Street.
Understood.
Typical agricultural type of a setting.
Right. But for aesthetics, it would be beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. So that is a great example of what you would present should you decide you want to participate in the solicitation process. You could possibly come in with that particular concept and say this is what you want to do, and the board has the option to choose. Okay.
Hey, Gina, could you kind of just speak to the partnership between the city and Valley Bank on financing opportunities?
I'm gonna defer to Thea Sullivan and Mr. Hayden on that point, because we haven't yet actually consummated that marriage as a date. But it would be my desire and hope, and now I'm going to speak above my pay grade, but it would be my desire to create a one-stop shop kind of scenario, so that once we determine who the actual folks will be that will be end users in these sites, if they're in need of financing, they would be able to go to one particular or 2 entities, and it'll already be set up for them once they've been vetted and qualified to actually get any lending services or support services that they might need. I'll defer to Mrs. Sullivan and Mr. Hayden if they have anything further to add on that.
Mr. Frank, did you want to go first?
No.
Okay, well, we do have a relationship with the city, with their vendor department, with Frank's department, as far as providing services to the businesses that provide services to the city. And I currently have been asked to take over the community lending department for Valley that we will soon be rolling out. And I am going to be looking at special pricing terms for this project if we have an opportunity to be in a partnership with the city.
And can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, very good, very good. And just in lieu of that, we have been working with not only Valley, but with Suncoast and Flagler in terms of providing financial opportunities for our vendors here at the city of Detroit. But I must say, Valley National has gone above what we've asked for to provide those opportunities for our businesses. And so in answer to the initial question, yes, we're going to be looking to expand that relationship. All of this has to be approved by our commission, but I'm one of those that likes to reward those people who step up to the challenge to assist small and minority businesses within the city of West Palm Beach. So that'll be the proposal I will put forth, and hopefully the CRA board or commission will support that and be willing to do that. And I've been told that I keep slipping between Detroit and the city of West Palm Beach. I know where I am. It's just I'm getting old and I forget. So that's that.
Glad to hear that, Frank.
May I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I don't know if I heard this addressed, but would there be any restrictions on, let's say, an investor buying some of these properties and then renting them out to small businesses?
I'm glad you asked that question, and I apologize I didn't make that clear. I thought I alluded to the fact that there would be a first right of refusal, if you will, to those individuals currently in the historic Northwest. As I indicated, the goal here is to empower those that are in the community and are African American or minority descent. That's the goal here. We are not interested in building a product for somebody to come in and drop a few dollars, invest, and be absentee. That's not what we're doing. And I can't imagine the CRA board, which is also the city commission, would embrace that as well.
Could I?
Thank you.
Am I heard? You can hear me? Good. We are willing to provide this presentation to other community groups as well. We want to get the word out wide and far so people can take advantage of this. I mean, this is just the beginning of what the city of West Palm Beach is doing to revitalize minority-owned businesses and neighborhoods to make them viable again. So if anyone who is listening to this today would like to have this presentation done for your group, we're more than willing to make that happen.
Hi, good morning. This is Verna McCain, and that is awesome for you to say that, because I was just about to ask, how do we get that information presented to our group? Especially my son is looking to do like a sandwich shop. Would that be something that you guys are accommodating the building? How do we get a package? How do we present it to other minority owners who are interested in this project as well?
Did you want, I'll go ahead and take a stab at that. Hold on, hopefully I'm not muted here, good. Okay, so Richland Miller is my colleague that's on this call. She will get your information. If you could just type in your information, and she will put you on our contact list. But she'll, in the interim, send you the informational packet that we alluded to earlier. She'll send it to you digitally, so you can see the specs on the units, etc. And then I'll defer to Mr. Hayton and his group to set up any type of a meeting or opportunity if we want to do this virtually for a specific group as indicated. All right.
Thank you, Ms. Gina. Thank you.
You're welcome.
One more question. I didn't see parking in that diagram. with all those businesses down there, unless you live down there, where are they supposed to park?
So if you're familiar with downtown West Palm Beach, they have this wonderful thing called the DMP, which is the Downtown Master Plan, and it does not encourage vehicular traffic at all. However, that being said, that's why you don't see any parking designed into this particular site plan. But there is a plethora of parking spaces in and around the immediate area. They're called on-street parking spaces, and that's what 7th Street will serve us. And also on the promenade, I'm not going to ask my driver to pull up the plan again, but on the promenade side, there are parking spaces on the street as well.
Gina, this is Thais. Is there parking available at the Sunset, which is like across the street? There is a parking garage there?
Let me expand a little further. So with the Sunset Lounge itself, that destination, because of the nature of the activity, we actually built a parking lot behind the Sunset to the north of it, right? But that's probably going to be an exclusive kind of deal for that particular operation. When we find, let me just step out on a ledge here real quick. When we find the need to provide more vehicular parking, I already have a plan baked to be able to actually put in a valet service that will make use of all of the surface parking associated to churches that are in close proximity to this particular development. And yes, we've thought about having the problem of a lot of parking in the historic Northwest, but at this time, we don't foresee that being problematic, but there is a plan in place so that we will partner with the churches that use their parking lots as a shared use. And there are many of them within the very short walk or vicinity of this particular locale. Does that answer your question, Dr. Adams?
Yes, it does. That's fine. Yeah, yes, it does. Thank you.
Anybody else?
So, Keely?
Yes,
Tracy?
yes.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to take over, but I know you all have other things that you do during this time. We don't want to run out and take over everything for this. So that's why I was trying to get your attention.
Well, we are actually on time, so I'm going to ask if last call for questions for our guests. This was
I do have a question.
great information. Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, so good afternoon, Ms. Baker.
Yes, hi.
So one of the questions I've heard from some potential business owners is would the city or the CRA would be willing to help with the build out costs of a business? So, because as you know, it could cost them, $100,000 to build out the space they need the way for their business. Is that something that the city would consider?
Absolutely. And that's what I was alluding to in terms of incentives, right? So the way these are being constructed, they're being vanilla boxed, if you will. And once we identify who the end user is going to be, we will have TI tenant improvement dollars set aside to do that. And that will be wrapped into the total cost of the project. And then it's, as I said before, we haven't come to a real solid conclusion as to how we're going to parse those numbers out. But I know I can say this with confidence that it will be in favor of that particular business owner once they get to the table.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, are there any?
Just a little quick question here, Kelly. Sorry about that. And so my other question was that, so with this project, are we certain, and this may be for you, Miss Baker, Mrs. Baker, or Miss Baker, that you will not have investors or you will not have like people who have a lot of money coming in like, okay, we want a chunk of this, and then minority people who want to get in there, and I'm saying that they don't have that much money get shut out because somebody else have the money. As usual, they get ahead and we are still down at the bottom. Is this something that you guys have plan proof so that people who need the space and can do good with the space can get in, and not those who have the money?
So thank you, Ms. McCain. Let me try to parse that in two. So first and foremost, from my perspective as the PM of the area and in concert with the guy that currently is the executive director, that would not be our recommendation to the Community Redevelopment Agency that sits as the City Commission here in West Palm Beach. Now, that being said, there are 5 of them, right? So they ultimately will take the recommendations of this agency as to who is best and most better suited to be occupants of these units. But at the end of the day, that 5-seated commission board or CRA board will make those final decisions. So I can't say it's ironclad, or I can't say it's going to be, it's written in stone that they are not going to, say maybe parcel 1 goes to investor number 1. I can say to you that is not the mission, and it's counterintuitive to what this agency does. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. It does answer my question. Thank you for that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
All right.
Any last calls for questions as we move our agenda?
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, great. And so to piggyback on what the doctor was asking in regards to the 2 parcels, so each parcel is about 600 or so square feet. Is there a way to connect the breezeway and make it one space, or does it have to remain 2 separate spaces?
Okay, thank you for that. Architecturally, I think I mentioned that this project won an AIA, Architectural Institute of Architects Award, and it's based on the design as it sits. So the chances of connecting that breezeway and changing the facade on either the 7th Street or the Styx side or the Promenade side, it's probably slim. But I think from a functionality standpoint, depending upon your type of operation, I think you'll find that once the buildings come out of the ground and you can physically walk, feel, and touch, you'll see how they come together and they actually function. Because the architect that designed these, he intentionally made them look like they're catacornered like that to give you some depth and context, but also he designed them so that they function well together, either together or independent, because an end owner could want to rent to a whole separate entity on the back end, say, for example, or vice versa. Okay.
Good afternoon. I have a question. Hello?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Your question will be the last one.
Okay, thank you. Yes, my name is Claudia Mendoza. I'm a registered as minority business. I'm a general contractor with the city. Actually, I'm working here in a CR project in Norwood. Very proud to do that. And I would like to know if you are planning to invite minority business like in a shelter market, because it's a big project. I can imagine in phases, but it will be opportunity for us to work as at least small prime contractors, or you are planning to assign to one big contractor that then have to call us? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mendoza, for your question. This project has already been assigned. It already is under contract. Harnett Builders is the prime general contractor. And I'm not sure because I don't have his information right in front of me, but I think he is in the process of selecting his subs. And I'm going to now defer to Mr. Hayden, because I believe you have an automatic requirement about minority business hiring. Do you not, Mr. Hayden? I can't hear you, Mr. Hayden. No. Nope. I can hear you, but they can't.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Yes, Ms. Mendoza, it's good to hear from you and talk to you again. I think there are requirements on here, but I think what Ms. Mendoza was looking at was us having an opportunity, or her and other small businesses, to get a contract to do one of the projects themselves, as opposed to being a sub to the prime. But because we've already gone through the proposal process and we already have a vendor who is going to be responsible for doing that. The only thing that would be left would be some subcontracting opportunities. And so as we get to that, we'll make sure that there are some opportunities for small businesses and minority-owned or women-owned businesses to participate. But we at the city are providing opportunities through Sheltered Market so that only SBEs are competing against other SBEs. But it's too late for this project because we've already done the solicitation and gotten the vendor on board.
So, and may I just add for Mrs. Mendoza's benefit and whoever else is listening, we do have several other projects in the pipeline. And if you are currently registered, we certainly, the CRA certainly encourages a rotation. So this is not the last project coming down the pipeline. Well, fortunately, I'm quite busy here, so I have several more coming out of the pipeline.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Baker.
You all.
On behalf of the Black Chamber of Commerce of Palm Beach County, I want to thank the West Palm Beach CRA, Ms. Miller and Ms. Baker for presenting today. And a special thanks to our sponsor, City of West Palm Beach, Frank and his team. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, Tracy Thomas, who will share new member highlights. She will be followed by our chair, Grassford Smith, who will take us out. Before I turn it over to Tracy, I want to invite you to join us on April 28th, where we'll host another Wednesday Wisdom, actually our Wednesday Wisdom Health Hour that we do quarterly, where we'll be talking about the two phases in need of the aftermath of COVID-19. So we've got the West Palm Beach Mental Health Coalition joining us. So Tracy, the floor is yours, followed by Grassford.
I'm going to say goodbye to all of you. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to announce our newest members of the Black Chamber. We have Dunstan Independence Insurance, and I have quite a few of these members that I've been in communication with, and we do have them on the call. So I just asked if you guys, we can bring you on for a minute, introduce yourself, and let everybody know about your business and who you are. David Dunstan.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. David Dunstan, Dunstan Independent Insurance. Pleasure to be with you guys today. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you to Bruce and Trace for both reaching out to me yesterday to remind me about this. What I do is Medicare insurance. So I am a resource and asset to you for clients, yourself, or family members who have questions about Medicare, whether they are going to be 65 soon or already on over 65 on Medicare and just have questions about how things should be working for them. I also have access for people who qualify for Medicare and Medicaid. Those people have thousands of dollars of benefits that they are not aware of. We estimate here in Palm Beach County, about 300,000 people qualify for these extra benefits and are not aware of it. And unfortunately, a good chunk of those members or possible members are minorities. So I'm a resource for you, and it's a pleasure being here with you today.
Thank you. Thank you, David. We also have Progressive Capital Lending. Verna.
Hi, I am Verna McCain. Thank you, Tracy, for reaching out to me yesterday. I am from Progressive Capital Lending. I am a private lender, work with private lenders. So my slogan is when the banks say no, we say yes. So that is what we do. If you're looking for startup money and the bank is saying no, then we go to private lenders and we try to get you that money. So I also work with the SBA as well as getting SBA loans for people who need that as well. So that is what I do. I'm also a student at Nova Southeastern University, where I'm doing my PhD. Also doing a study on women entrepreneurship. And I'd really like to reach out to some women who haven't been in business for a little while, or say about 5 years or more, to help me with this study. Again, Verna McCain, Progressive Capital Lending. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Verna. We also have a new member, Access Academy, Robin Jones. I did not see her on, but that is also a new member. All Lines Business Solutions, Franklin Bryant.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the call and reaching out yesterday. My name is Franklin Bryant, and I consider myself a small business consultant specializing in taxation and insurance, mainly workers' compensation and group, as well as liability. We also provide accounting and bookkeeping services for small businesses as well here in the Palm Beach County area.
Very good. Thank you, Franklin.
Thank you for having me.
We also have the West Palm Beach Center for Arts and Technology, PJ Lang, as well as Bruce Lewis, who's also on this team as well.
Good afternoon. Allow me the pleasure to introduce PJ Lang, who is our interim director for the West Palm Beach Center for Art and Technology. As we had a presentation prior, I'd like everybody to know that the West Palm Beach Center for Art and Technology will be a major part of the revitalization and redevelopment of the Northwest neighborhood. Our new building will be placed just north of the Salvation Army. And so with that, I'd like to have PJ say a few words about our upcoming event.
Great. Thank you, Bruce, and thank you, Tracy. It is my pleasure to be here today, and it is a pleasure to be working on the new Center for Art and Technology. It'll be located on the space next to the Salvation Army. We focus on working with youth and workforce development, particularly in the area of culinary, agriculture, tech, and pre-apprentice construction. And we are about to do a launch event. Bruce Lewis is our chairperson. I invite you all complimentary to join our event. And Tracy is also a member of our team working on our marketing. She is available, as you know, through your chamber, but you can sign up through our website, wpbcat.org, to attend our virtual jazz event. Nicole Henry is the MC, Selwyn Birchwood, our kids from the Buffalo Cat, the Buffalo Center for Arts and Technology, will be performing, Christian Tambor, and other jazz artists. It's a virtual event on May 1st. And so you can go to our website, please register. You can go to any of our social media and register. And if you also get to enjoy the jazz, you'll get to learn more about the center. And again, we are part of the Manchester Bidwell Center out of Pittsburgh. Mr. Bill Strickland is the founder. He wrote the book, Making the Impossible Possible. And we look forward to being the education component and workforce development component of the historic Northwest. And as Bruce said, playing a vital part in the revitalization of the historic Northwest. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you. Thank you, PJ. Thank you. Another new member that we have on board, Blue Mountain Coffee House, Allison Batecher. She was not able to join us today. And we also have Roundtree Training and Consulting.
Yes, it's mute.
No, you're not.
Roundtree.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I just want to first thank our chair, Grassford Smith, for the invitation to join, as well as Tracy for inviting me here and tell me about the program. They both did, and it's a pleasure to be here and to see everyone. Roundtree Training and Consulting focuses on training, speaking, and consulting in leadership skills. Any entrepreneur, any professional, or anyone in the workplace who wants to improve their leadership skills, take their leadership skills to the next level, that's my focus. I am a DISC trainer. I'm also certified with SHRM as a senior certified professional. And I look forward to helping individuals to just improve in their communication skills, how they show up. I was very successful in the pharmaceutical industry with J&J. And what really helped me is being able to understand individuals' personalities, understanding how to communicate and how to show up professionally. And so right now, my focus full-time as an entrepreneur is to really help others so that they can show up and really connect with others in the workplace and in their business. And if you scan my Scantron, you'll get more information and you can visit my website. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Roundtree. And that concludes our new members for this go around here. So back over to you, Keely.
Bradford, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Keely and Tracy, as usual, for doing a fantastic job putting this program together. Of course, the partnership that we have with the city of West Palm is incredibly important to the chamber, not only in terms of what you've heard today, but also because of the Equity Entrepreneur Center that we are, that's in the works, and that is being made possible because of this great relationship. I want to thank Frank for your involvement, of course, Bruce for your leadership on that. I must say, I haven't attended a lot of these Wednesday Wisdoms. I believe we got the most questions today that we ever got, that I ever remember getting. So clearly this topic was of great interest to the community. I hope that you all got something from it and that you'll be able to benefit from the information you got. I do notice that we did post, so we are posting this information that will be available to you. So you'll be able to watch it again if you missed anything. Of course, you've heard from a lot of our new members. We're excited about all the member benefits that we're rolling out. And as you can tell, Tracy's actually calling people individually when you become a member. So we want to make sure that you hear from us and that you fully understand and can take advantage of all of the benefits that you'll get from being a member. So feel free to reach out to me if ever you need anything as it relates to the chamber. I'm also a commercial litigation partner with the law firm Ackerman here locally, but my focus is to help your business through the Black Chamber of Commerce. With that, I bid you farewell. Have a good rest of your afternoon.